The studio lights burned bright as millions watched live. Barack Obama leaned forward, his voice calm but sharp, and then he dropped the words no one expected. Tonight, America deserves to hear the truth about Donald Trump. The audience froze. For a split second, even Trump himself looked unsettled, blinking rapidly as the silence pressed in. Obama paused deliberately, scanning the crowd, then spoke again. For years, secrets have been buried, but tonight, they come into the light. Gasps filled the air, cameras zoomed in, and the tension snapped like a wire pulled too tight. Trump smirked at first, trying to laugh it off, but the smirk cracked under the weight of Obama's words. The opening blow had landed, and the stage was set for a clash unlike anything America had seen on live television. The confrontation unfolded during what was supposed to be a routine televised forum. The event was billed as a conversation about leadership, but the networks quickly realized they had stumbled into history in the making. Barack Obama, invited as a guest speaker, carried his usual measured composure. Across the stage, Donald Trump sat rigid, eyes narrowed, already bracing for confrontation. The audience was not just a random crowd. Senators, journalists, business leaders, and activists filled the hall. Every gasp, every clap, every murmur carried weight. Social media feeds were alive in real time, streaming clips before the sentences had even finished leaving Obama's mouth. Commentators whispered that the stakes had never been higher. Trump, never one to stay quiet, shifted in his seat, muttering audibly enough for microphones to catch. Here we go again, Obama trying to preach like he's perfect. But Obama didn't flinch. Instead, he pressed on with a calm authority that made the tension feel like a drawn bowstring ready to snap. The clash was no longer about two men. It was about two visions of America. One man projecting steadiness, dignity, and quiet power, the other ready to erupt, daring anyone to challenge him. The audience knew they were watching more than a debate. They were witnessing a collision of legacies, unfiltered and irreversible. Obama straightened his notes but never looked down. His voice carried the weight of finality. Donald Trump has hidden financial ties that the American people were never told about. Deals struck behind closed doors. Connections that put personal gain above national interest. The crowd gasped, and the hall buzzed like a hive struck with a stone. Trump's face reddened instantly. He slammed his hand against the armrest and barked, "Lies! Every word of it! You're making this up because you can't stand that I beat the system!" His voice cracked, louder with each syllable, as if volume could erase the sting of the accusation. But Obama didn't back down. He spoke over the chaos, each word sharper than the last. Documents show money flowing through shell companies. Names hidden, transfers disguised. This isn't speculation, it's fact. And it's time the country knew. The audience exploded, some shouting in disbelief, others clapping furiously. News anchors in their booths spoke over one another, struggling to interpret what was happening in real time. Hashtags began to trend within minutes. Trump leaned forward, pointing a finger across the stage. "You're a fraud, Obama. You've always been a fraud, and now you're trying to drag me down with lies because you're scared of me." His voice trembled with fury. Obama only raised an eyebrow. "What I fear, Donald, is what happens when the truth finally catches up to you." The tension was unbearable. Every exchange felt like a hammer blow, each accusation heavier than the last. The conflict was no longer simmering. It was roaring, unstoppable, and threatening to tear the entire event apart. Trump shot up from his seat, his voice booming through the hall. "You think you can stand here and smear me? You were the weakest president this country ever had!" His words dripped with venom, each insult louder than the last. The moderators tried to calm him, but he waved them off, pacing furiously as cameras followed his every step. The audience was stunned. Some shouted back, others covered their mouths in disbelief. Trump, red-faced and shaking, pointed directly at Obama. "You're nothing but a disgrace, a liar, and I will not let you tarnish me with your fake secrets." But Obama didn't move. He remained seated, calm, composed, his eyes locked on Trump like a man who had already won. Then, in a low voice that cut through the chaos, Obama asked a single question. "If none of it is true, Donald, why were the payments hidden offshore." The words landed like a thunderclap. The hall went silent, every sound sucked out of the air. Even Trump froze, his mouth open but no words coming out. The silence was deafening, heavier than any shout could ever be. For the first time, Trump looked cornered. The outbursts, the fury, the insults, none of it could shield him from the weight of that question. The crowd leaned in, waiting, desperate for his response. But nothing came. Just hesitation, sweat, and the glare of lights exposing him from every angle. It was the moment the clash reached its peak. Truth against denial, composure against rage. And the balance of power on that stage shifted irreversibly. The silence stretched across the hall, broken only by the faint hum of cameras capturing every second. Trump finally muttered something incoherent, but the damage was already done. The hesitation spoke louder than any denial. Obama leaned back, his tone steady, almost solemn. "The presidency is not a shield for secrecy. America deserves better than shadows and cover-ups." His words echoed through the hall, firm and unshakable. The audience erupted, half in thunderous applause, half in stunned disbelief. Some rose to their feet cheering, others sat frozen, processing what they had just witnessed. Social media feeds exploded with clips of Trump's faltering silence, side by side with Obama's piercing question. News outlets immediately declared it the defining moment of the night, a confrontation that revealed not just secrets but character. Trump's fury had consumed him, while Obama's composure had carved the final impression. By the next morning, the exchange was everywhere. Headlines, late-night monologues, endless debates on television and radio. Some called it the collapse of Trump's carefully built image. Others insisted it was just another battle in a war that would never end. But all agreed on one point. History had been made live on television. The clash became more than a scandal. It was a symbol of what America was fighting over. Truth versus denial, dignity versus rage, transparency versus shadows. One night, one stage, one unshakable moment that left the nation divided but unable to look away. And as the lights dimmed and the cameras powered down, the words still lingered. A question unanswered, a truth exposed, and a reminder that even the loudest voice can be silenced by a single fact. By the end of that night, America was split down the middle. Families argued at dinner tables, newsrooms scrambled to replay every frame, and millions debated what the silence really meant. Was it the crack in Trump's armor? Or was it the start of an even bigger storm? Obama's measured composure became a symbol of steady truth, while Trump's fury was replayed endlessly, turning into memes, punchlines, and heated talking points. Yet beneath the noise, there was something deeper, a collective realization that the clash was not just about two men. It was about what kind of leadership America wanted to embrace. The unanswered question, why were the payments hidden offshore, refused to fade. It lingered in headlines, in late-night comedy, in classrooms, in office corridors. For Trump's critics, it was proof that the empire he built was rotting from within. For his supporters, it was yet another reason to believe the system was rigged against him. But history would not forget the image. Trump red-faced and stumbling, Obama calm and relentless. A single night had reshaped the narrative, proving that live television could still deliver moments that pierced through the chaos of politics. And as weeks passed, the echoes of that night remained. Every speech Trump gave, every rally he held, reporters shouted the same question. He dodged, he raged, he mocked, but never truly answered. The shadow of Obama's words followed him like a storm cloud. In the end, the clash was more than an argument. It was a fracture line in America's story, a point where truth met denial, and the entire world was watching. A reminder that no secret stays buried forever, and that even in the loudest storm, silence can still expose everything.